Right, you join us after the last video. There's been a development in so much as you'll recall this machine here. I had removed the RAM. Another machine on hire. The hirer had basically run the machine without oil, and this is the engine. So I've been out on site. I've taken the engine out of the damaged machine and swapped it for the one that was in this one. The principle being that I wasn't then without a crusher on hire. This one's obviously waiting for repairs, so it's going to be a little while. So I've ordered a new engine, and here it is. I've unboxed it, and basically I've got to do some preparations to this to get it up and spec'd up for this particular machine. Various things I've got to do. I've got to take off the fuel inlet here, put this fuel system on. What this is an additional filter. When Kubota manufacture this, they've basically got one filter inside the tank, and that isn't enough to filter out some of the crud that people that hire the machines put into the top. So this is also a water filter as well. So any water that gets in there is not going to bypass this filter and ruin this pump. These pumps are around about £500 each. So this has got to be fitted. There's another banjo fitting here, which is different to this one. This one has an additional pipe coming from the back. What this enables it to do is to self-bleed, because again, being a hire machine, everybody always runs it out of diesel, then they can't start it. But this will actually self-bleed the system by putting this in. So I've got to cut a pipe on the back here, if you can see that. Cut this pipe off, put this system in. I've got to cut this PTO shaft down. That's too long, so that's got to be down to there. I've got to remove this tank, get to this fitting, put all that on. Once the machine is actually on, I've also got to adjust the RPMs. That can only be done when the machine's running. Basically, the machine is set to 3,600 RPM. I've got to reduce it down to 3,200. And the reason for that is that the computer and the pressure switch are all designed to work at a certain flow rate of hydraulic oil. So if it runs too fast, basically the machine will stall because the hydraulic pressure switch can't negotiate the correct settings and parameters. Therefore, it doesn't tell the RAM to change direction. So there's a little bit of work to do on this. So we're going to do that now, work through it all, and then hopefully fit it on the machine, get it up and running, so at least it's ready for when the RAMs turn up. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is take the fuel tank off. I don't need to take it right off, I just need to loosen this off here. Just enough so that I can get this out. There isn't enough clearance to take this out with that there. So I've got to just loosen these off. I have to take these right out. Being Kubota, Japanese, there is no 13mm on this engine. Everything's 12, 10, 17, no 13, no common size. So just something to bear in mind when you're working on these. You can throw your 13mm socket away, you won't need it. Right, so those are loose. 10mm on the top. 10mm will just enable me to lift the tank up enough to get this fuel system fitted. The other thing I've got to do, I should explain, it's probably fairly obvious, is fill it with oil. I'll do that a bit later on when the machine's low. I've got it up on the forks at the moment, on the pallet that it came on. Just enables me to work at a more comfortable height. Don't need to take these right out, just slacken them off enough to get the tank up. Right, and then the banjo fitting's 14mm, just to slacken that off. There'll be a little bit of fluid coming out because I think they do run these engines up just to test them. Yeah, a little bit of fluid there. Okay, so we lift him up, get him out now. I'm going to reuse the new banjo fitting that they've supplied. There's nothing wrong with the old one, but it seems daft not to use this in the two new copper washers that come with it. Right, so that's out of the way. I've then got to remove this pipe off the bottom of the tank. So I'm going to need a long pair of pliers for that. So get this out under here. That just comes off on a pressure clip. And we should be able to then pull that off, pull that around there. There. So this is the manufacturer's banjo bolt, banjo fitting, and you'll see there the difference. That one's got this extra feed off the back, basically so that it will self-bleed. Right, so now I've got to thread that back in there. Put the copper washer on there, thread that through. Now this is going to be a bit tricky because you've got to get the copper washer fitted on the bottom. Let's get it past the tank. So right, I've just lost the bolt out the top. That's all right. Once that's started, it'll be okay, but it's getting it started is always a bit of a fiddle. It's much easier when you're at a higher level like this. If I can just get that started, I can let go of the tank. Yeah. Doesn't want to play ball today. Right, she's started, so I can probably get to that now. Nope. I'll just wind that all in off this 40mm spanner. Just as easy. Hopefully I won't have to get to this for a little while yet. Generally these engines will do around about 1200 hours if I'm lucky. They're not really the best engine for the machine, to be honest. They've only got to ingest a tiny bit of dust, piston rings go, then all the oil gets sucked up from the bottom of the engine. It loses a bit of compression, loses power, and it's had it. I have sent them away, get them rebored and ported, but you know, the cost of that is getting on for £1,000. Cost of a new engine is £1,500, and if you bear in mind, I can keep this old engine here. There's various spares on this, such as the exhaust. Exhaust is £300. You've got a fuel pump, you know, best part of £500. Starter motor. You've got an injector, fuel tank. There's various things on there that will be useful, so it's better to keep that for spares. Right, so she's on now, so I can put this tank back on. You've got to get these bolts just in the right place. There is yeah, see, I've done that wrong. Various rubber grommets behind this, and what they do is they just take the vibration out from the edge of the tank. So you've got a long one behind here, and that just has to fit in there. So once that's started, like that, and then this one here, exactly the same, but there's a little collar that goes in there, again, to take the vibration away. That goes in there. A couple of 12mm bolts should do that. There we go. Got 10mm on the top here. Right, tighten those up now. I shouldn't need to get to that for a little while. Right, okay, that's that done. Right, I'm going to let that cool down. That's going to be hot for quite a while. Basically, last job to do, sorry, I've got to fill this up with oil. Now, again, this is so much easier to do now. If I have to fill this up with oil when the machine's on, I can't get to any of this. So the top filler is out of the question, which means I've got to fill it up from this one, and that involves putting a pipe in. It can be quite messy, but this is much easier. So we need 1.6 litres of oil in there. get that filled up. That's done. I need to then fit this on with the two end pieces in there to go on there. Make sure that's okay. Then we can slide the engine in, fit it all, and basically negotiate cutting all this. Sorry, not cutting, but this is a anti-tamper cap here. You can see that anti-tamper cap. So I've got to take that off and adjust the throttle basically. Okay, right, let's get some oil. Trick is to pour this in slowly because the top of this won't cope with a huge flow rate. I made a mistake of glugging it in and then covered a brand new engine with oil, which was not fun. Even then, look, it's just glugged there. I've glugged too much out. Damn. Oh. Try and let some air in. Oh dear. Check we got that 1.6 spot on. Keep an eye on this side, see where the engine oil level is. Not full up yet. It'll take a while for that to drain through. Right, I'll just leave that draining through and then we'll check it on the dipstick. I think it looks okay at the moment. Let's just test that. Not quite up to the line, that's unusual. I'll just leave that for a minute or two just to see if that will drain through from the top. I've put 1.6 in. I certainly don't want to overfill it. I'll just see if that's... test it on the rag. Ah, that's better. Yeah, we've got enough up there now, that's great. Okay, I'll do that up. I'll do this one up. Right, I have to try now and get some of this oil off that I've just chucked all over the engine. Let's move that over there. Just ordinary 10W40 in these diesel engines, nothing else. Right, that's okay. Right. I think we're ready to slide that in. No, we're not. I tell you, we've got to put this in. So we need to slide that on there. Okay, that just needs to go on there. She's on. Brilliant. Okay, good job I've remembered that because that would have been a disaster. Now the other thing, sorry, I've got to do, in order to slide that actually in, this has got to line up exactly with the pump teeth. You can just see them. You see them in there. So I may have to take the engine flywheel cover off, which is here, in order to rotate the fan. Right, so new engine is now fitted. It's full of fuel, and so we're just going to try and start the engine. Once I've got the engine running, I will adjust the output setting to get it down to 3,200. Right, so moment of truth, throttle all the way down, condition on, make sure the fuel's on, and I'll just give the decompression leader a bit of a pull over. It's quite difficult to get to. There we go. No power. Right, okay. No power, so what's stopping that from starting? Something around here, that's in there's fine. I suspect it's that lever there. There we go, just a sticky solenoid. Right. Let's just prime the fuel through. Right, we've got a bad earth. Let's see what's going on there. Tighten this one up properly. That's tight. It must be on the earth on the battery then. That's pretty tight there. That's a bit strange. I can't get that any tighter, so it can't be that. Maybe the battery's dud. I did swap this over for another one, so I'll give that another go. Right, okay, so it's obviously the battery is depleted. Right, we'll get the jump pack on that. Oh dear. This may not be the problem, but well, we shall see. What voltage have we got now? 12.6 still. Yeah, it needs to be higher than that. Not a good connection here. Oh, 13. Should be good. Right. Right, jump pack's just decided to snap off. I think what I'll do is I'll prime a bit more fuel through and we'll give that another go. She wants to fire up, it's just getting the fuel prime through is the problem. Nope, jump pack's come off again. It's a very fine connection on this earth on this machine. It's not quite right. She won't fire up. Got 12.6 still. We need a bit more than that. Well, hopefully. Right, we've got voltage now. No. Blimey. Right, what have we got now? 13 still, so it should be right. Nearly. Right, she's obviously not getting fuel in properly, so I'll just bleed the top of the pump. 14 mil. Where's my 14 mil spanner gone? Probably an airlock somewhere. Yeah, there's no fuel there at the moment. Right, I'm just going to bleed that off there at this part. It should then flow through. I think that's the problem. There's no fuel coming through there. Just needs the bleeding screw undone. There she goes. Right, that's on. Right, tighten that up there. I've made a mess of the engine again. So I've got to get steam cleaned anyway once I've fitted the ram, because that's going to create a lot of oil everywhere. Right, now she should fire up. Right, I've managed to find a new reflective strip, so I'm going to just stick this onto the flywheel, and then this laser will then fire back to give me what the RPM is currently running at on full revs. So we're looking for around about 3,200, just a little bit less maybe. I think by the sounds of the engine I've probably got it just about right, but we'll just see. I think the one I had on there before was not the right one, so it's given a false reading. Right, we're going to try again. Brilliant. Okay, engine rev's all set now, so I'm going to put the flywheel cover back on here. I'm going to put this on charge because I think the battery's slightly depleted, and yeah, then that's good to go. I'll just check this ignition again. Yeah, she's all good, so excellent.